Imagine this. You walk into a store, look around, buy nothing, and then leave. A minute later, a camera has not only seen you, but scanned your face, identified you, and stored your information into a database that could follow you for years. Not because you did anything wrong, but simply because you were there. This is not science fiction anymore. It's happening today. Facial recognition technology is rapidly expanding into airports, police departments, schools, stores, and even social media apps. And while it can be used for unlocking your phone or for catching dangerous criminals, we do not always know who is watching us, how our data is being stored, or what happens with it after it is collected. There's a growing gap between how fast technology is moving and how slowly our laws and public understanding are catching up. And that gap affects every single one of us, whether we realize it or not. That uncertainty leads us to an important conversation. We should openly discuss the ethical concerns surrounding facial recognition technology in order to better understand how it impacts our privacy, our freedom, and our fairness in society. One major ethical concern is that facial recognition collects our biometric data, our faces, without our permission. The Electronic Frontier Foundation reports that cameras equipped with facial recognition can scan and store millions of faces in public places without notifying or asking consent from the people being recorded. In other words, just walking down the street or strolling through your local mall could lead to your face in a permanent database that you never agreed to join. Think about how different that is from other forms of surveillance. If you don't like a store watching you, you can choose to leave. If you don't like a phone app tracking you, you can choose to delete it or not download the app in the first place. But you cannot delete your face. You cannot choose to have it scanned when you're in a public place. And most people do not even know this is happening. According to a Pew Research Center study, 72% of Americans don't know just how much facial data is being collected about them or how it's being used. That means that most of us don't even have the awareness needed to give the proper consent. When we aren't informed or given a choice, our rights become involuntary trade-offs. Privacy becomes luxury instead of a basic expectation. But privacy is not the only ethical concern. Facial recognition also struggles to correctly identify certain groups of people, especially women and people of color. And bias in technology can lead to real-world harm. A 2019 MIT study found that commercial facial recognition systems misidentified darker-skinned women 35% of the time, compared with less than 1% for lighter-skinned men. That means the technology works almost perfectly for white men, but is drastically less accurate for others. This creates an unequal risk and unequal treatment based on identity. The ACLU tested this by running members of Congress through Amazon's facial recognition system. The system falsely matched 28 lawmakers with criminal mugshots, and the majority of those misidentified were people of color. Imagine the consequences if those errors started happening in policing, airport screenings, job applications, or school security systems. People could be wrongfully accused, tracked, denied access, or even arrested simply because the technology doesn't recognize them accurately. These aren't hypothetical scenarios, they've already happened. When technology benefits some groups and harms others, it isn't neutral. It becomes a tool that can reinforce inequality and that raises serious questions about who is protected and who is put at risk. I would now like to put all of this into a personal perspective. 2 years ago, while my friend and I were at a gas station near our home that's known for its size and selection of different things, we were by the clothing when the manager approached him telling him that he needed to leave because they had their facial recognition system had matched him with somebody they had stealing from them, which he never had done. The manager claimed that their recognition system flagged him on entry, and after a long debate, we were let off the hook after they measured my friend in height in the back office, and it was not the same height as the person that they thought it was. So what do we do with all of this information? Do we ban facial recognition completely? Do we ignore the risk and move forward? Or do we look for ways to make technology ethical, safe, and fair? This is where the dialogue matters. The Brookings Institution reports that clear regulations, transparency, and constant policies can reduce misuse and build public trust. These ideas don't require us to reject technology, they require us to shape it responsibly. There are real examples of change already happening. Cities like San Francisco, Boston, and Portland have chosen to pause or restrict facial recognition until ethical safeguards are created. They're not banning innovation, they're demanding accountability. They're saying technology should serve people, not exploit them. And importantly, these decisions did not come out of nowhere. They came from public conversations, citizens speaking up, researchers presenting data, lawmakers listening, and communities asking questions about what fairness and safety should look like in a high-tech world. Dialogue, not silence, leads to progress. That's why discussing the ethics of facial recognition matters. We're not just talking about cameras or software, we're talking about how our identity is treated and whether our rights stay ours in a world where everything can be tracked. Facial recognition challenges our privacy by collecting our faces without consent. It threatens fairness by misidentifying certain races and genders more than others, and through open dialogue and thoughtful regulation, we have the power to create ethical standards that balance safety and freedom. So here's the question that I would like to leave you with. Should technology simply recognize our faces, or should it respect our rights? Because if safety is a reason to innovate, then justice should be a reason to regulate. Technology shouldn't just see us, it should value us.